And welcome back to another episode of the White Sox March to October. And it's not just any other episode, because today is opening day here in year 3, our second straight title defense season getting underway. We're on the quest for a three-peat, and we've got a few new faces on the team. We lost Dylan Cease in the offseason, replaced him with Zach Gallen, and Gallen should be our opening day starter, so we should get to see him right away. We're getting going right away though on opening day. We're hopping right into the game, but don't worry, we're definitely going to talk about the rosters. It's the start of a new season. There's obviously going to be something to complain about roster wise. This is always a fun screen to see, our offensive preseason projections. I really wish they'd expand on this. Like it'd be really fun to see every category and some pitching categories too, who they project and how much they project to lead the team by. But we got Colson Montgomery in average and OPS, but then Vlad in homers and runs batted in, but then Luis Robert in steals and WAR. So kind of interesting that 3 different players can lead in OPS, home runs, and WAR by projection. So I guess we'll see. Big things expected from Colson Montgomery. But we're getting things started here in the top of the 6th. We've got a full 4 innings at least to play, and we got to make a comeback down to run here, and I would like to see how this game's gone. Wow, and of all people, our only runs today have come from a Francisco Mejia 2-run homer. Again, like I said, we've got a lot of roster stuff to talk about. Don't read too much into this opening day starting lineup because I didn't get to adjust it at all. But yeah, Mejia was maybe the lowest profile signing we had in the offseason, so to see him producing right away is nice. We have Zach Gallen. He's gone 5, given up 3, which isn't ideal, but he's struck out 9, and he's only allowed 4 hits and 1 walk, so the whip is even. He's just been kind of getting unlucky giving up runs. But yeah, from here on out, the rest of the game, I'm not going to worry about any roster stuff. We'll get to that in due time after this one's over. And okay, Eloy, get the season started. My first swing of 2026 is a 479-foot shot from Eloy. I mean, we are picking right up where we left off. Last season was the best season. Like, I'm prepared to say the best season I've ever had in a March to October. Not necessarily the best team I've ever had, but in terms of how I played personally with the team I had, best season ever. So to see this happen right away, we're just ready to run it back. Oh, and there we go. There's a rollover on that sweeping curve. Not going to beat it out. And, you know, it just dawned on me, in case there's anybody new here, finding the series here to start year 3 and seeing that 479-foot perfect home run. We are on legend difficulty. I play March to October on legend, so I'm not sitting here on rookie or anything just running up scores. This is competitive gameplay. It's just that's kind of where this team has gotten to, where we're just that good. So I guess this is your first clue a little bit to the rosters, as Brian Ramos is here. And not only is he here, but they have him as an opening day starter. I guess little spoiler alert for a little bit later in the episode. I don't plan on Brian Ramos starting at third like he is here, but it is fun to see him. And look at what he's doing going the other way. That's going to be more extra bases. 2-out double to try and get ourselves in a spot to take the lead here right away. I'm down for it. And Mejia, ooh, I hit that hard. I hit that solid. It was just right to him. So we're going to have to be content with the Eloy blast. Ooh, and this is a good one to see right away. Probably the biggest signing from the Royals in the offseason. They snagged Will Smith to be their new catcher, and he's gone deep today. But Zach Gallen does have kind of a surprisingly high amount of energy left for where he was at in this game. So I am sticking with him for hopefully a while, and that's a good start. And there we go, 94 blown past him up and in. That's double-digit strikeouts for Zach Gallen on opening day. Ooh, and okay, we're just going to have to try and cut that off. Keep him at first. It's okay, 2-out base hit, no harm. And there we go, another punch out. Took a few more pitches than I would have liked to get through that inning, but a solid inning anyway. You know, I think between with how the White Sox season has gone in real life and kind of how inconsistent I've been a little bit lately posting videos, and we haven't seen as many episodes of the March to October. So it's been a little while since we've got to fully appreciate some of our players, but we got to remember guys like Dominic Fletcher in this universe, major contributor right here. Like, he has had back-to-back seasons to start his White Sox career with over a 300 average. I think he's hit 20 home runs both times. He's battling right now, and now we've got a full count. But yeah, guys like him, guys like Benintendi, Vaughn, Eloy, we already saw go deep, but I don't know. We think of them as being like such disappointments in real life for the White Sox. But in this universe, there's nothing to be disappointed by. And here's another new face, Austin Hayes. Didn't really expect to sign someone like him going into the offseason, and man, I would have really liked to get more of that. That's actually a couple of really nice swings to start this inning with nothing to show for. That is going to give me something to show for, though. Yeah, that is a shot. That was a line drive, too, and I couldn't quite tell, but it looked like it got to the fountains. 440 for Vlad, and we take the lead. He just got paid 10-year. It was like $270 million contract I gave him to come back, and look at what he's doing on opening day. And Luis Robert is going to take a walk. I can get on board with that. Oh my God, Eloy. No, I didn't get enough of that one right down the middle. Was just under it. Eloy's power against lefties has suffered a little bit for some reason. And I think that combo right there is what kept that so unimpressive. But what was impressive was that home run from Vlad. We have the lead now. All we got to do is hang on to it. And you know, I didn't even think to go back and look, but sitting here now, I kind of feel like, didn't we get off to a slow start to start year 2? Maybe I'm thinking of something else. I don't know. But for some reason, I feel like the first game at least did not go well. And then I feel like we kind of were slow out of the blocks, which is kind of crazy to think with how good this season ended up. But if we can get off to a fast start this year and then just continue that, keep picking up momentum throughout the year, I mean, this could be a historic season. We've seen some historic seasons when I've played March to October, and this could be up there. Okay, oh, wait. We got a yellow throw. I don't think it beat him anyway. I think he beat that out. That was just kind of a weird play all around. Like, it gave me control of Ramos. I dove, but then he dove past it, but then Montgomery got it anyway. I don't know. All I know is if I didn't miss my spot, we probably wouldn't have given up a runner there. All right, we got Nick Madrigal popping up. Go back to the dugout, Nick. You're like 2 generations ago by this point. Oh no, he made a good swing. At least the runner stays at second, even though he took off on the pitch on a 3-2 count. Obviously, I didn't want to challenge Bobby Witt there, so I guess that's kind of the same thing as if I walked him. I just thought that was a really nice pitch, which it kind of was. You know what? I'm going to take that as my cue to get Zach Gallen out of this game. He was up over 100 pitches. Energy starting to get low. There's no reason to push him further with 2 on now. But we'll get someone we've got pretty familiar with in here. Clay Holmes. 40 innings pitched last season to a 1.11 ERA, and he was absolutely lights out in the postseason. And one pitch, he's going to get him jammed, and he's going to get us out of it, and he can go the 8th, probably easily. Let's see what we can do to actually make that easier here. I want some insurance runs. Oh, I don't know why I swung at that. Maybe it gets down, though. Oh, that's easily going to get down. That just kept carrying. Should I go for 3? 84 speed at, oh, that's plenty. A triple in the left center gap. I was way out in front of that. I didn't put the best PCI on it. It only came off the bat at 94. Were they playing him in? And Montgomery, what is that doing? Go home. Okay, we're going to score. I feel like that should be a hit. Oh, they are going to give him an error. But either way, that's another run driven in here. We do get our insurance almost immediately. Oh, Ramos with the perfect. He's got extra bases again. And it looks like the outfield was kind of playing shallow. I'll keep Montgomery at third. I wanted to send him. I thought he had a shot. But dude, what an opening day for Brian Ramos. I am swinging the bat with him. Oh, and that's going to drive in 2 more. Mejia comes through. That's 4 driven in for him on the day. The 9-hole hitter. And just like that, that turns this game into no longer a save situation. We don't even have an out yet. And, oh, man, if that got past him into the wall, that would have had a chance at being our second triple of the inning. Oh, and I'm getting sat down with Austin Hayes there. That was actually a really nice pitch. Vlad, what is that doing? What is that doing, Vlad? It's not going anywhere, but it's getting down. Another extra base hit, another run driven in for Vlad on opening day. We have broken this game wide open. I mean, I am so happy to see this team showing up like it is, showing up like we were showing up in every game in our playoff run. We have not lost a step. Oh, and I did not get around on that. I need to be getting around on that, but I can't really be upset with that inning, can I? Well, we may as well save Clay Holmes' arm because we have the perfect guy to bring in a spot like this. Tukey is back. He is still on the team. He made the opening day roster. And he's he's immediately giving up a base hit. Ooh, and there we go. I think he might have been out in front of that at 95. Definitely didn't get it where I wanted it to be. Oh, no. Wow. On an 0-2 count, that was supposed to get way outside, and instead that kind of made its way right down the middle. All right, Tukey, let's not get too comfy here. I mean, we still have a 3-run lead and another inning to improve upon that, but, like, let's get it under control, bud. Okay, there we go. Weak on the ground. I like that much better. There we go. Big looping Tukey curveball to sit him down. I don't like giving up the 2 runs. Let's see if we can get a run back and keep this a non-save situation, because now it is, again, a save situation technically. All right, I'll take it. Leadoff walk. I think we came back down 1-2 maybe. Oh, that might be 2. Yeah, that's just a bad PCI. Bad result there. All right, well, even though that last one could be called into question, Montgomery is 0 for 4 here on opening day. We can't have that. Oh, I don't really know how I missed it. I mean, I know exactly how I missed it. I just don't know how I missed it. All right, well, I guess that then does leave us with a save situation. So we're not going to mess around. We're going to go to Crochet. I'm still going to consider him my closer. He's definitely not like the highest overall option, but he's been our closer for 2 seasons now, and he's had 2 pretty different seasons. Year 1 was basically unhittable. Last year was not quite as good. I mean, if he gets swings like that, I think this is going to be a fine year. And there we go, another one on that slider. It kind of gets weirder and weirder the more we both get into this March to October and the further we get into the real-life White Sox season with Garrett Crochet. Because what we know him as between the two is so different. He has turned into this top of the rotation ace starting pitcher that, like, the sky is the limit for. But here, in this March to October, he is like elite level closer who's racked up, what, like 40 something or almost 40 saves in 2 straight seasons. And there's another punch out. Oh, and there we go. We made Bobby Witt Jr. look like a fool to secure our opening day win, striking out the side for the save, firing on all cylinders there. I put up, what, 8 runs on my own. It's a shame we couldn't either hold them where they were or do a little bit more, because we probably could have gotten an extra fireball for a blowout if we did. But still, to start the season with 5, that seems like a lot. We did come from behind. It just doesn't really feel like that since I erased that deficit immediately. So there we go, man. I liked a lot of what I saw there. Crochet looking dominant again. Zach Gallen with a great opening day start, especially once I got to control him. A lot of good things happening on offense. Pick up a lot of momentum, and now we've got a chance to sweep our opening series. We're going to have to do it down a run again, but I do think we're probably going to end up saving that for the next episode, because for the rest of this one, we do have some stuff to talk about when it comes to our roster and then setting up the trade management screen, all those sorts of things. So one good thing before we get into our rosters, though, is I think for the first time, we don't have a Sammy Peralta, Davy Garcia, Estevan Florial type situation where we're stuck with a guy that we don't want because they're out of minor league options. I mean, technically, that is kind of the situation with Tukey Toussaint. He's out of options and he can't be sent down, but we love Tukey here. But I do want to go back and talk about the offense first, because this is maybe the weirdest opening day roster situation, at least I feel like I've seen, because the thing that happened is we don't have a backup catcher. I don't know how that's going to work. So if you missed the offseason, just a quick recap of how I went about getting the catcher position is the plan I settled on was sign Francisco Mejia and then let the CPU either sign like a random veteran to be our backup, because the way that the offseason structured in March to October, you don't get access access to like every single free agent. So Mejia was actually the worst catcher we saw. So I was hoping the CPU would find some like 71, 72 overall free agent veteran, and that would just be our backup. But the CPU signed nobody. So what I thought that meant was Edgar Caro was just going to get promoted a little sooner than I'd want him to, and he'd be our backup catcher, because I figure you kind of need a backup catcher. The CPU GM, though, has other plans. He is torturing Francisco Mejia back there because he will be catching every single day. And I don't exactly know what kind of consequences that's going to have. I think in my experience of playing March to October, even though we don't get to see any sort of fatigue, I think the fatigue system still exists. And I think how it works, like if you're playing franchise, is if you use a guy who's tired and fatigued, their ratings kind of take a hit in the game. So we won't be able to see that. Like we won't be able to see on this screen that, hey, Mejia's tired, so his contact's going down like -10. But by game, 15, we might be at that point where he has no energy left. He can't get injured because this is March to October, and his in-game attributes are just going way down, just taking a major hit because he can't even pick up his legs off the ground anymore. But the only thing that really means outside of just not having a backup catcher is that Brian Ramos is up on the big league team. And I mean, obviously he did fine on opening day, but I was kind of hoping, and the way that I structured some of my signings was in the hopes that Brian Ramos would start this year back down in the minors, and then we'd either get another fast track or a call up, either one to boost his ratings a bit more. But he is the lowest overall, so I'm sure if we make any move, like adding a catcher, however we would go about doing that, Ramos would probably be the one sent down. So anyways, this is what I have to be our batting order to start the season. Against righties, I'm leading off Colson Montgomery after the season he had last year. From that point though, I don't really know. I mean, we're batting Austin Hayes too, because he has the highest contact against righties actually on the team. But then yeah, the rest of the way, Vlad, Luis Robert, Eloy, Fletcher, Vaughn, Duran, and Mejia. Against lefties, we bring in Senzel off the bench because this is what I signed him for, was to face lefties. Look at him. He's 92 contact, 75 power against lefties. So he'll be playing second, and then we move Duran to right to sit down Dominic Fletcher because he's still very underwhelming against lefties. And then when it comes to our pitching, even though we don't have a Davy Garcia, Sammy Peralta situation, I still do not at all like what the CPU has done with our bullpen. Because again, to explain my plan during the offseason was I left, I think it was 2 spots in the bullpen for the CPU to either sign random veterans or promote from within. Either option was available. And then we already know, because we got to see our auto signings at the end of the offseason, the CPU signed 4 relief pitchers. The problem is all 4 of these random relief pitchers that the CPU signed are here. They're up on the big league squad. We've got Pierce Johnson, Tim Meza, Luke Jackson, and Giovanni Gallegos. And I mean, they're probably going to be fine. They're all decent rated when it comes to bullpen arms. I mean, all 4 of them are 34 years old, so I'm sure regression's going to be hitting, and it might hit some of them pretty hard, pretty fast. We don't know yet. But the reason I have such a problem with this is because, like, we don't need all 4 of them. If we look at our roster, still the only way we can truly look at our entire roster in March to October on the trade screen. If we look at our bullpen, in order to have those auto signings up, that means Tyler Wells has to start in AAA, Joe Barlow once again is in AAA, and Johnny Lasagna is in AAA. All 3 of them a higher rating than all 4 of those auto signings. I guess the hope is that throughout the year, we'll get call-up opportunities, and over time, we'll have the chance to build the bullpen we want to have with what we have. And since we're here, we may as well talk about what I've done to set up our trade management screen. And to be honest, I don't really know what we need. We have such a complete team that I don't really know what we need to go out and get for this season. I mean, the only answer that makes any sense would be more bullpen arms, but we already have 3 back-end bullpen arms. And then, like we just talked about, other improvements that wouldn't be more back-end relievers we kind of already have in the system. So because of not really knowing who I want, I kind of just have catcher selected here because I want to get a backup catcher. I don't really want to see how negatively impacted Mejia can be by being the only catcher, so I'd like to get in a backup catcher, and these are the only 2 guys that I added because that's all I'm looking for is a backup catcher. Kind of the only thing I was looking for would be catchers that are either lefties or switch hitters and have decent numbers against righties, because Mejia is weaker against righties, and probably more so if we get Theis than if we got Caratini. We could maybe do some sort of platoon, but I don't even know. I don't even know how this is going to work out. I also set team needs to just position and pitching prospects, because that would be the other thing I want. I don't know what I'd be willing to trade away to acquire prospects, because obviously we're competing. We're not going to want to trade away bigger pieces, but I guess kind of in that vein, this is what we're shopping. We still have Domingo Germán hanging around our minor league system, and then I added the 3 righties that got signed, because I wouldn't mind hanging on to Tim Meza. I think he's actually solid. I also think as the season progresses, we'll learn a little bit more what we might be looking for, because pitching could still be a question mark. We have 2 very large question marks in this rotation in Jake Eder and Jared Schuster, because neither of them have really proven to me that they can be successful starting pitchers, and I'm giving both of them the chance this year. But if we start getting into the season and these dudes are struggling and their ERAs are up in the 5s or something, we might start adding some starting pitching into what we're targeting. But I think I have sat here and successfully rambled about this roster until my mouth is dry, so that's a good place to end today. Plan is to hopefully get a lot of action in the next episode. I always usually like to take this first episode of a season to get acquainted with the roster. And as we wrap things up today, I just want to go through real quick through all 30 teams, both hitting and pitching. I remember I got a comment near the end of last season that you'd like to see where the rosters around the league are at, and now being 3 seasons in, a couple off seasons in, it might be kind of nice to see that. So obviously feel free to pause and take a look at these teams as we cycle through real quick. I just don't want to spend too much time on it. But anyway, the plan for next episode will be to see some more action. I just kind of like taking opening day to play the opening day game and then really get acquainted with our roster and what we're going to be looking like going into the season. So make sure, as always, to do me that big favor and leave a like if you enjoyed this episode. And if you're new or not subscribed to the channel yet, make sure you do me that favor and hit the subscribe button for more White Sox March to October. But thank you guys for watching again today. Thanks for sticking with me, and I will see you next time.